So he's searching for a story. He wants it to be rooted in the American story, but not the American story that motivates the right, nor the American story that sounds too much like Christianity, right? Birthed in sin and got to redemption. Maybe something in the mid-century American story.
Been thinking about this because I've been a bit obsessed with this speech J.D. Vance gave at the Claremont Institute, where part of the speech was him taking aim at the sort of creedal America, the sort of Frederick Douglass America, the America where belonging is at least partly defined by a commitment to the ideals of the Declaration of Independence. And Vance says, that he prefers attaching belonging to whether your ancestors were here in the Civil War than whether or not you believed in the Declaration of Independence. Okay, that's one level of the fight. And
I'm just going to say I think that slightly simplifies what he was saying, but please continue.
I don't really, but we can. I would love to do as long as you want to do on
separate episode.
But let me say that he goes on in that speech to say something else. He does make a series of points about citizenship and belonging. He says, well, what's the point of all this? He says, well, it's to build, to make America great, to create as our forefathers once did. And I read that and I thought, in the period of time in which America did become this world-spanning colossus, a lot of it did have to do with our ability to integrate people into our community, our ability to welcome in immigrants, at different rates and at different times, but quite a lot of them. Our ability to expand our community far beyond what other countries were typically capable of doing. And it made me think about how poor we have been in the Democratic Party about actually making not just the moral argument for our approach to belonging, not just the policy oversight of our approach to belonging, where you actually do need an orderly border and for people to feel you're doing things in the national interest, but the actual argument for at least part of our approach to belonging, which is it makes America stronger, it makes it more innovative, it makes it more generative,
Okay, so he's starting to say the story that that's motivating the left is a story of belonging in the midst of diversity that's not rooted in who's actually in America. That's kind of the J.D. Vance version, right? That if you are ancestrally from America, then we're trying to create a great country that you belong to. But it's sort of trying to change the story or embrace a story that says, well, as long as these different groups represents kind of the differences that immigrants and different groups that came to America and were able to come together, not closer to maybe the Frederick Douglass creedal, like we are Americans because we believe similar things. We still need a strong border. We still need, he's just searching for this mid-century or this ancient, a little bit ancient belonging and where the belonging is coming from. And this is a story he's trying to and so see where he goes next.
It's more dynamic. And there as being a lot of opportunity in that there being a tradition here that we can take hold of that is an exciting tradition, a tradition of dynamism, a tradition of change, a tradition of welcoming people in who then do amazing things they could do here.
I want you to really understand when he says a tradition of change, that is there's an inherent contradiction in what he's saying. And he's going to go deeper and deeper into this idea. In other words, and this is the real end of liberalism. What Ezra Klein is describing is where liberalism dies, because it has to always embrace change. It can't ever embrace something conservative. You never get to a place where we have something great that we can conserve from the past, traditions that can be conserved. The only tradition you can embrace is the tradition of change. And this is what makes this kind of project ultimately self-defeating. It doesn't actually have a vision of the future. And you'll see he's incredibly eloquent, but this is what he's doing. He's going to go deeper and deeper into this sort of weird philosophical hole.